In a world where gaming is everything, welcome to the Extreme Gaming Podcast.
And we are here with Extreme Gaming Podcast. Hey, look, the thing worked too, like it was supposed to. It didn't work last week. Anyway, episode 281, which even though we're pre-recording, will air today too. It just happens to be that way. I'm Greg Gamer 25, and my compadre over there is, or over there, whatever.
Hello, Trev, as always. How are we doing?
And Taro couldn't make it, and last minute something went wrong or whatever. Not wrong, but happened with Matt, and he's fine, but he may or may not make it. So we're just going to kind of push along and continue either way. Yeah. Remember our Discord, discord.gg/Extreme Gaming Podcast. We've had a few people join up here and there, and they're enjoying it. If you want to ask any questions of us that you would like us to answer on the podcast, go ahead and leave a question there. Or you can even email us if you don't want to do that. info@extremegamingpodcast.com. That's info@extremegamingpodcast.com, and we'll answer the question live or recorded live, depending on how you look at it. And for our audio people, you can't see it, but Trevor's holding up what is that? The Nintendo Switch Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Just for the Switch 2 coming out soon. Sorry, Greg. Where do people find us in the socials?
That's okay. Don't forget, we do EGP quick breaks, we call it. Look for them on YouTube. We usually do one or two, a week if we can, where we do something different. You'll hear us talk the same as you would on the audio, but then we put in all kinds of video goodies and stuff, and maybe some extras and whatever. So look for those. They seem to be doing well on YouTube, so that's all cool. We also do our normal shorts and everything, which we've been getting a lot of action on as well. Game night is Tuesdays at 8:30 BST. That is attended by various people. We may have a lot, we may have less. It all depends on what's going on or what life throws at us. But generally speaking, most Tuesday nights we do get to play. The other thing was that we're on all the socials that we talk about all the time: YouTube, Extreme Gaming Godpass, Facebook, TikTok, all Extreme Gaming Podcasts. But on X, it's just plain Extreme Podcasts. But you can catch us on those socials if you want to. So I think without further ado, who came up with that anyway? Does anybody know what further ado even means?
Frenchman. I'm blaming the Frenchman.
Oh, I think, let's do that, yeah.
Yeah, the French. Yeah.
Well, the big news, I guess, was that Doom: The Dark Ages finally came out. I, of course, was bonkers on that game, so I loaded it right away, first day one, and then I went ahead and started playing it. I kind of backtracking a little bit, but I didn't want to play too much of the game. I played the first 3 missions. There's 22 missions, by the way, through the course of the whole game. And I had already known from before playing the game that they said they were going to be releasing another update, I believe in June, where they're going to be putting in Pathfinder. Is it Pathfinder or path tracing?
Path ray tracing.
Well, because the ray tracing is there, but this is the path.
It's the full fat ray tracing experience, and I would rather wait for that before playing it.
Exactly. So I didn't want to go past the 3rd mission. I wanted to at least be able to try enough to enjoy it, but not go really past the first 3 missions or so, just to wait on that. We were talking off the air about what we thought about that wait. Believe me, I'm only nitpicking now because ID has been fantastic, and I'll get into the game in a second. So it's not like a major complaint of mine.
Right.
However,
it's not ID.
Okay, Id. Yeah, I know. Whatever.
That's sacrilege.
Sorry, Id.
Yeah.
In any case, so we kind of thought, like, why would they come out with the game now just to tell us that the extra beef, so to speak, is going to be included at like a month after it comes out? And I'm going like, well, we waited long enough. I mean, what would have been a big deal to wait one more month and have everything be there, So,
why is it not ready in day one? I don't.
I just don't. I don't understand. So,
have you watched the not documentary? Have you watched the Digital Foundry hour and 26-minute long tech review? It's a lot It's a bit much, but it's fascinating to learn.
I definitely want to watch it. And if anybody out there wants to hear it or see it, check it out on YouTube. Did you watch all of it or no?
Yep. Finished it now. It's
cool. Go ahead and tell us the highlights if you remember.
It's super technical, like even too much for me. I'm interested in the nitty gritty, but not to the level they were into. They were into the minutia, and it was actually a bit much. My head was a bit sore afterwards. I had to go and have a lie down at work. So I can't pick out any highlights. It was just technical gobbledygook all the way through. I think they are very, very efficient with their game engine, is what we learned from this. That's why they've just evolved on every version of their engine, and they're on version 8 at the moment. And to be fair, they just work at efficiencies all the time. They've got such a talented team as well, and a game director. They work with Bethesda, and they work with Machine Games for things to share stuff between them. And it seems to really they borrowed some, not assets, but some technical gubbins from Machine Games for their Indiana Jones game that they done recently. So they do work close to each other. I think what they want to do is they didn't say there'd be another Doom game after this, but he said in the future what I would like to do is make it full path ray tracing from the start. So they get alluding to what we just said a minute ago about not being in. I don't know the reason for that. He wants to make it full ray tracing, the whole thing built in. And it was a decision at the very start of this game to make ray tracing mandatory, because every platform it's on supports ray tracing, which is true. Xbox supports it, PlayStation supports it, although at a simpler level. PC, well, a good card really supports it. So I don't think you can play it on PC without at least a 2000 series NVIDIA card. Which, to be fair, why would you play anything older? Because it would be awful. But yeah, it's just good.
The thing we mentioned last week, which is cool, is that they optimized it so well that yes, if you really wanted to, you could play it on a 8 gigabyte video card and it'll still run. But yeah, who wants to really do that? I mean, but regardless, the fact of the matter is it runs really, really well, and we'll wait for the update, but it still runs very good. The thing I don't know if it was you that said it or somebody else, but they're saying they should license out their engine to other other companies, and maybe their games would be optimized better that way.
I think so. But maybe it's they don't need to. Maybe it's kind of in-house secrets.
True.
I'm comparing it to something like I'm comparing this, being a novice, understanding this, because I'm not Digital Foundry. I don't pretend to be. Mm-hmm. I think the leader in the market at the moment is obviously Unreal. Everyone knows that. It's a very good product to use, and for an indie gamer, it's free to use. It's only when you start selling so many copies that you actually have to pay for using it. So I think that, what's that game called, Gray? The one that's the turn-based one, the Expedition one.
Oh, Expedition 33, right?
Yeah. That one's made in Unreal Engine. So that was a pleasant surprise. So they probably have to fork out some cash to the guys that have the engine. So yeah, fair enough. But I think their engine, the id engine, or whatever they're calling that again, the name slipped my mind. Id Engine 8.
It's id Tech 8, I think.
id Tech 8, there we go. They're very good at the fast-paced, fast-motion stuff. Unreal's pretty good at everything else. But the downside of Unreal is, and I believe they're fixing this in version 5.6, you get frame spikes on large open world games. So the Oblivion remaster that came out recently, they couldn't fix that because it was an engine problem, and they'll probably never fix it because they won't revisit it, they're saying. So that's a problem, because more and more developers want to use that engine, Unreal, for games. But who's to say that id Tech 8 could be used for other game types, genres. We don't know until they try it. Someone needs to approach them and like, can we use your engine? But I think Machine Games use their engine. I might be wrong. I don't know if Bethesda owns both of them or not. I don't really know how that works. Let's assume they do. They probably do. So it's probably the same engine that they both use. So any game that's shipped under Bethesda, with the exception of Fallout, maybe uses id Tech. id Tech should be used for everything, because what was the Fallout engine called again, Gray? Creation or engine or something beginning with C.
I forget.
Yeah, I use the Creation
so many
engine.
out there. There's like there's Snowdrop and there's Unity.
No, but just under Bethesda. So you're Bethesda, owned by Microsoft, right? You're Bethesda, and you've got under you Fallout, right? Whose engine is shit. It is. It's better than it was. Like the Starfield one was better than Fallout 76. Granted, it was better, but it's not nowhere near the top, right? And they're going to just keep falling behind. So you've got Bethesda with Fallout and the Creation Engine, whatever that's called, and then to the left you've got id Tech 8, and you're using that shit over there.
Yeah, you would think, because it's right, because Microsoft owns them, they'd be one happy family and want to, use or cross, I guess because in some respects, Microsoft owning them is still new-ish, and so they wanted to run independently. That's what they said. Not
Bethesda. They've owned them for a few years. They bought them before they bought Activision, remember? So
their claim is always that, we don't want to get too involved and let them do their own thing. Everyone does their own thing. But we own them, but we want them to do their own thing. Well, I'm going like, well, maybe you got to stop doing that then.
Wait till we get to the Bungie stuff later on about owning and buying out these studios and the problems that can cause. So,
left and right, happening all the time.
I want your spoiler-free brief review on what you've played of them so far, because I've not played it yet. And if you spoil it, I will fly to Florida and kill you.
There's really nothing to spoil because I only played 3 missions, and stuff. No. But I was like really jonesing to play, so I open it up, and of course you see the opening cinematic and stuff like that, and you're just like, oh boy.
Don't spoil that. I love that bit.
No, I'm not talking about it.
Great. Pause there. Sorry. Open cinematic, right? Remember Doom 2016? Because I'm not calling it Doom 1. It's Doom 2016, right? The first of the modern 3-part series that we know now. I remember that literally gave me the tingles downstairs in my...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
See when it starts and the Doomslayers all... If this is a spoiler alert and you're not played Doom 2016, you've had 9 years to play it, so no excuse. The Doom guy is on the bench, about to get sliced open. He manages to break out, get into the suit, the Paladin suit or whatever it's called, I can't remember, gets into the suit, and then the first weapon he picks up and blasts a zombie or a demon with is the shotgun, the double-barrel shotgun. And as soon as the music stops, it stops and all you hear is... And I was like, oh, yes, that's perfect. My hair's in the back of my neck. My little fella is excited and standing on it. I'm like, here we go, bang, into the game. I was like a pig in shit. The Doom Eternal wasn't quite as good for the starting point, but still all right. So I'm hoping this brings it up a bit more. That's all.
I think there's nothing like the first, like you're saying, the first feeling when you play Doom 2016, because we didn't know what to expect, and Doom had a history, of course, going way back, and so we were going like, well, what are they going to do with this game? And we started seeing little things, and it was looking good, and we're going, oh, okay. And then when it finally came out, that was it. We were all like totally blown away. So I like the first game. I like the second game, and the third game is each one is different in some ways, and also brought up a notch in other ways as well. This one is what they were mentioning is that it could be a fast game if you want, or it could be a little bit slower game if you want.
You can increase the speed to 150%. You know that in the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the good thing about it, that's not even I'll get into that now since you mentioned it.
Oh, you knew about that. Sorry.
No, I knew about the sliders and everything because I went right into it to see what was the story. I had mentioned before on our podcast that I think all games should have stuff like that because there's people sit there and go like, well, it's cheating. And yeah, but here's the thing. Number one, you want to have fun. If you can't have fun, then you need to adjust something. But the problem is that so many games just go like, well, play easy, medium, or hard. And it's kind of like you don't have any, you don't have any choice. So when you go to easy, it's too easy. If you go to medium, it's too hard for you. So what do? There's nothing to do. You can't do anything. You have to go for a trainer or a cheat code because you need it to be better than easy, but not as hard as medium or whatever, right? Yeah. I mean, look, there's people out there that are very talented that can play like Ultra Nightmare on Doom and have no problems. I've watched them play and I'm going like, yeah, not in a million years they'll be able to play like that, and I would have no fun. So more power to them. That's cool. But if you think about it for a second, it's almost like doing the math in your head real quick. If you have a slider, you can set it at anything you want.
Is there a slider for the trackball?
I don't need it. It's already a sliding kind of like, see, never mind. So, so what I really, really liked about it was that I could go in and now I could do the minutia kind of thing. And it's not that difficult. So there's not that many things there that you can change, but there are a few things you can slide if you want to. So I went in and I was going like, all right, I don't know how hard I want to make it because I'm only on the first 3 missions and I want to have fun. And I didn't want to go easy either.
Just leave it on the default, Gray. I always leave it on the default setting.
Well, yeah, but it depends on the game. I do hurt me plenty, so that's not the easy one. It's the one above the easy one.
That's the default, yep.
And then there's one above that, and then, of course, there's others. But anyway, so I have that one on, and I decided, all right, I wanted to have at least a little bit of an advantage to be able to get into the game or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I went in and I made the enemies take 125% damage and me take 75%. So I kind of tweaked it until I got to a point where I liked it. Yeah, no. See that's the whole thing with the sliders though, and what you can do. So I did that just because I wanted to start out a little bit better, or if you want to call it that.
Why didn't you try it at least default before you get your ass handed to you? All right,
I did, but I wasn't getting as far enough, and I wanted to make sure I finished at least some of it before I did this review. So I went ahead and did that. Okay. I was having a blast. I was going crazy. I didn't know what was better to use. It was just like I've only got like 2 guns, I think, or 3. You get them as you go along the game, and stuff. But I will tell you though, the shield is freaking cool. Probably out of that's one of the definite highlights. Because being able to throw the shield and slice up people are great. You have a choice, though. You can throw the shield at distance and slice through some of these guys, or you can actually do I don't know what they call it, but you basically right click and you bum rush them. Like, you just rush right in with your shield going and just blow a whole bunch of them out in pieces.
Speaking of the shield, Gray, I saw people use it the way people used. Was it the thing that came out with the shotgun, the grappling hook in the last game?
Oh, right,
to climb up things, or maybe that's the chain.
No, I can tell you that one. What that is that there's certain parts where they call it the fleshy parts. So when you're looking at a chasm, you got to go across. There's usually some gobbledygook junk or something nearby, and you throw your shield at it, and then you hit the button again, and it catapults you towards it.
It must be magnets or something, maybe.
No. This is the shield actually burrowing itself into something.
But how do you get dragged forward to grab the?
You have to hit the right button to do, not just throw the shield, but to throw it.
I'm trying to understand the logistics of how that's actually possible in game. Did it explain it? What's dragging you towards the shield? Is it visible fresh air just pulling you towards the shield?
The way it looked to me was that the shield went and stuck where it was supposed to stick. And it looked like a rip cord was connected still to my arm. And so then when I hit the button again, the rip cord reels in and you just go flying over to the...
Yeah, because how else can you get it back? It's not like it's Captain America's shield.
Right, exactly. Right. So yeah, there's a rip cord of some kind, or if you want to look at it as being a bungee cord, let's say, and the bungee cord just springs you over the chasm and then you keep on going.
Makes sense.
The soundtrack, as usual, is so great. I mean...
I don't even like that kind of music, Gray. Normally I don't. I think it's like angry, shouty music. Sorry if people like that. But for Doom, it's perfect.
It is perfect. I mean, I like heavy metal, but only certain kinds. I'm not like deep into heavy metal these days because I personally don't think it's as good as it was a few years ago. But anyway, that's another story. So the whole thing is that this thing actually works. So you hear the everything's just going crazy. And you're just like,
how does it go, Gray? How does it go?
Yeah, that's how it went.
Oh,
And so you're just like, you're automatically, it's almost kind of like, you last played the last game 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just like you never left. anyway, so I'm going through this thing, but the thing that I thought was so cool was the whole thing with the parrying or the blocking of projectiles that the demons throw at you.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is you can do. By the way, you can go to the game and make so many changes if you want. You can do like nothing to help you at all, or you can put little cues to help you here and there. So what I did was there was a setting that said use a green color for the cueing of when they throw a weapon at you that's parable, whatever.
Is that a word?
That you can deflect. So I put that on because what happens is they throw red, weapons at you, or red colored weapons at you. They throw green colored
weapons at you. What the?
Not throw weapons, but what they shoot is a beam or whatever you want to call it.
Projectiles.
So some are white, some are red, some are green.
Right.
So I set it up to give me a quickie cue, which you see on your HUD, of when a green one is incoming. The others I just left it off to make it tougher on me, but that one I wanted to know. So you see the indicator and you see whatever it is they're throwing at you, coming at you in green, and you put the shield up in time, and it just ricochets this thing back. Now the cool thing is if you put it too early, it's not going to ricochet back properly, or if it does ricochet, it's not going to hit him with that much force. So if you time it right and you kind of hit it as it's getting really close to you, it goes back at them at the full strength that it can, and basically injures them or kills them depending on the situation. So I was having a blast, and they're going bang, and the sound effect is so cool. I don't know where they get these freaking sound effects from, but I'm telling you,
do not know. They literally go out into the field and actually throw shields against people and stuff and record it. And
I know, I know how it's done, but it's just so cool though. When you hear it, it goes bang. It's great, and you see the thing fly back. And a lot of times, depending on the strength of the demon, of course, it immediately puts them into a stance where they're dazed. And if you run over there fast enough, then you can do either what they call an execution or a glory kill, depending on what. We all are familiar with the glory kills.
Yeah, from the last game from Eternal.
Right, exactly. And I was kind of wondering, I wasn't getting a lot of the glory kills in the first 3 missions, but I understood why. It's just a progression of things. But as I was going through it, and I finally did get to some of the glory kills, there was one where, what did he do? He takes his arm and he pulls this big old eyeball out of this one demon, and then he shoves it down his throat and kicks him.
Oh, I've seen that. That was in Eternal as well.
Yeah, but the way they did it in this one was just so good. It was just, and then the cool thing is, you're seeing like they did in Eternal where pieces fly off, but the demons can still attack to some degree, or whatever. But it's so great. It really is fun. What else did I do that was kind of neat or different? Well, the arenas, or not arenas, but the battlefields that you play on, because it's not Eternal. Eternal is more kind of like you're in areas that are kind of contained. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But this one looks like it's open world, even though it's not really open world. But it has the field of open world because there's so much going on. There's so much space. So it's kind of like you can run around and do things. Not too different than Destiny 2. Because when you're Destiny 2, you know how we're always running to go to the next thing, but it's pretty wide open spaces, generally speaking.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this thing is. So you see all different enemies coming at you a lot. And the neat thing is it's not just one demon shooting you. There's like 2 or 3 or 4 different demons all in the same field. And so you have to be careful to not, to knock out the ones that are easy. Yeah, but you got to work your way around to get to the big guy and knock him off. So it's really cool. I will say one thing, and this is not really a spoiler. We all saw in the trailer that you get to jump into a big mech. A huge thing, so you can fight these monsters that are like as big as Godzilla or whatever. I figured that you would not get to that part until much later into the game. So, and I didn't want to go that far because I wanted to do this review and stuff and wait for the update. But I was pleasantly surprised that I believe it was mission 3 when I got into it that I was able to get that mech earlier than I thought. It wasn't because I did anything special.
Cheers! That's a mini spoiler. I was looking forward to surprise.
No, don't worry. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it wasn't even like it was supposed to be something hard that you were supposed to do. It just kind of came along in the story, and I won't say why. But I had to say something because I'm telling you, man, wow, is that fun? I'm like, I'm inside the suit and you're just stomping around. And the cool thing is that even though there was enemies to fight, which were very, very cool, I went around punching buildings. It was great. I just walk up to a building and I go like this, the whole building's gone. And I throw another punch and destroy another building. I didn't have to do it, but I wanted to see if they let us do it, because you want to feel like you're Godzilla in a way, because you want to be able to smash stuff. So they could have easily not put that in. Simple. In fact, if I hadn't tried hitting a building, I probably wouldn't have bothered, because I would have just took for granted that you can't do anything. But you can. You just walk right up to them and smash them to pieces. You can walk right through bridges. You just walk right through them, and the bridge explodes. And then there's these guys down on the ground, these enemies and demons or whatever, trying to throw stuff up at you, and you just sit there and step on them. You just walk across and step on them. Or if you want to, you could just lean over a little bit and you could just punch the shit out of them, which is great. You see this tank. There's like a tank down there shooting at me or whatever. Of course, it looks kind of small when you're in this big suit. And I just lean over like this and I throw a punch and it goes smash. The whole tank is gone. And I'm like, yeah, now we're talking. I'm assuming, although I don't know because I haven't played in the game, that you're going to be able to play with that they call it Atlan, Atlan. Don't ask me why. That's just the name. So I'm assuming you'll be able to play with it again somewhere in the game, I guess. I don't see why they would just give it to you for right then. So I got a feeling that the dragon that we saw, the dragon, whatever it was, will come along at some point in the game. I don't know where. And you'll be able to do some things with the dragon. But I mean, geez, 3 missions in with 19 more to go. And I'm having a blast. It is so much fun. And there is, I think the one improvement I kind of like too, besides the overall game, the map that you go to is a little bit easier to figure out. They purposely make the map kind of hard. They don't give you all the help on the map. So like if you see look at the map and you see that you have to go down here and to the right and you can get to this area. Yeah, well, that doesn't mean that when you go down there that you can just walk right in. A lot of times they have a block or a gate, or you need the key, just like always, the blue key, the yellow key, the whatever. So the map does not tell you a lot of times what you're going to need. You just have to explore on your own. There's neat little collectibles like last time. They had the dolls, right? So they have the dolls again. You can find the dolls. Of course, looks a little better because it's made for Doom.
They're little Doom guys.
Yeah, little Doom guys, but they all look like Dark Age type Doom guys or whatever. So you can grab those. Of course, there's different power-ups and stuff. There's a skill tree of what you can do. There's one skill I think I just put on, but I haven't tried yet, and that is instead of just throwing the shield straight at the enemies and chopping them up, it will actually bounce off of one enemy and another and chop them all up as it goes around and comes back.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, "Wow, I didn't know that was one of them." And I'm sitting there going, "That's cool." I haven't tried it yet. They show you in the tutorial of what that is supposed to do. And you see this thing going bang, 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 and then back to your arm, and these guys are just flying to pieces. And I'm going like, yeah, that's good. That's gonna be cool.
Greg, did you notice the little Doom guy? They brought it back on the HUD in the middle, center middle. Yeah. Now I'm wondering if you take damage, does he take damage like?
Yeah, just like the old game.
Oh, see, I missed that. I'm glad they brought that back because that was part of Doom, man.
I think that was in the first one, right?
No, it was in the first 2 or 3. Then they got rid of it.
No, I mean in the new ones. I think it was in the new one.
No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't 2016 or Eternal. Yeah, no, it was a big deal. They brought it back.
I immediately picked him, and it's the same guy. He just sits there, and the same pixelated face too, right? Because it's
never changed
back then, and he's going like this with his eyes back and forth like this.
And then when he's getting beat up, he looks beat up as an avatar.
Blood, the blood coming down or whatever. And I could tell, like, when I was really injured a couple times and I was about ready to die, he looked like a mess, of course, and stuff. And then I would die, of course, and then you just respawn or whatever. It has save points that are like the other games that at certain points. There's enough save points that you're not starting like way the hell back. So it's okay. So basically, obviously I'm not going to go through the whole thing and not get killed. Of course I'm going to get killed. And then I start back and then I figure out what the enemy's throwing at me. But there's a lot of there's more probably side to side movement than I've ever seen before, because some of the weapons that they throw at you are kind of like it's hard to explain. instead of just one beam, it's kind of like a projectile and then a space, and then another projectile, and then a space, and then another projectile. So if you do it right, you can actually walk between projectiles and not get hurt to get yourself closer to the enemy. Now, where it gets hard is that they'll throw those kind of projectiles, but then another demon will also throw those kind of projectiles, but they're filling the spaces of the ones that you're trying to go through.
Yeah.
So if you work the timing right, you can kind of like do a zigzag. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. When you can zigzag through these projectile weapons coming in at you to try to get closer to whatever demon, and then just be wary of when they're green, because when they're green you can knock them back, and it definitely obviously helps you greatly when you can do stuff like that. But like I said, the tech tree looks outstanding, because I'm sitting there looking at the stuff I don't have yet, and I'm seeing all kinds of crazy crap. They have this is different now. They reward you with more pickups if you melee more. Doesn't mean you have to, because it's not that easy. But essentially, you have like 3 melee punches, 3 or 4. Each time you punch, it's a little bit stronger. And if you kill the character with just your melee punch, all right, you get more stuff than you would have if you just shot him.
I love punching. I do it all the time in Destiny. I just love going around. My build is for melee punching. I just go around smashing people up. It's good.
I never used to punch as much in Doom, but this now it encourages it. So I really do kind of like it. So now I try to be a little more wary of trying to get in and getting a couple of haymakers in on whatever demon.
Couple of haymakers.
Yeah, and I get extra stuff. Especially if you're getting low on supplies or low on health. If you can melee a few things, you get a lot of that back, and you can continue to go on. There's many times where I was about ready to die, and I was able to melee punch some demon, and I got extra stuff, and I was able to continue the fight. But it's, to me, and three missions in out of 22, and it's already a winner for me. It's just like, it's just great.
Like I said before, I'm going to wait until that update comes out, because I want to play it the way it was supposed to be. But what I done is, even though you can get it free in Game Pass, or including Game Pass,
yeah,
I actually own a copy, like a Steam copy, because it came free with my graphics card, and it was the premium edition, which meant I get 2 days early access, but I couldn't play that because I was away from my computer all week, so I wasn't even able to take advantage of that. But it does come with some like digital deluxe skins and stuff, and it was confirmed only at this stage, because I didn't know about it before. DLC, so they'll do what they done for Eternal, and bring out, what was it, Ancient Gods, or whatever it's called, part 1 and 2. There was 2 bits of DLC. They'll probably do the same and bring out DLC for this, and I've got it ready to go. I got free DLC with that. I got free DLC with this. Free DLC with the keyboard. So I should probably show the keyboard, shouldn't I?
Yeah, because we'll do a video.
I probably should leave it.
There he goes. He's going to get it. And he's coming back for everybody there.
It was pretty cool.
Check our quick breaks, and you can see it too.
It was on sale, and it's from the company in the UK sell it, Overclockers. I love Overclockers because they're very competitive, and they put in a tiny little bag of Haribo into every box that they send you.
Oh, you're talking about the gun?
Yeah, Haribo, man. So you get some munchies, you get some sweeties. No, just normal. They not branded. So the reason I love this, it comes with this. Like, this is just something. Granny's computer quality is absolutely phenomenal. Always get issues with that, man. Anyway, right. So what we have here is a design, a Doom design. Now, people are going to hate this because put it here in front. Actually, you're not going to see that. There you go. That's better. So you can't really see there, but if you kind of tilt your head, it's basically the Doom guy, right? It's the Doom. If I turn around, yeah. So, and then let's say it's from Ducky, so they're a well-known keyboard manufacturer. Ducky Doom, and then at the back we go.
Oh, I didn't see that. See the back. Remember that last?
Yeah. And where does a keyboard face?
Okay.
down. You'll never see that. But anyway, I never got it for that. Now, the problem is, you don't see the letters and the keys. Well, you do, but they're on the side. Now, that isn't a problem for me because I've got muscle memory. I pretty much know where a lot of the keys are anyway. And plus, when you're typing like that, so yeah, I love this, and it's just a little cool design like with this as well.
Yeah.
But Computex at the moment, that same company, Overclockers, were over there, and they're going around looking at all the stands, great. And I want to go to Taiwan before the Chinese take it over again. I want to go over there and like check it out because that's what that is one of the tech havens of the world, and they're showing all this stuff. They're showing Doom stuff off as well. They showed this other Doom chair off. They showed a Doom-inspired PC case. I was like, and it had a skull inside it, man. It had a skull inside the PC case. So I want this.
What a day not to win the lottery. Shoot.
And then there was the Doom graphics card as well that Asus have done. And check out the Computex stuff, man. It's absolutely brilliant. So I've got the DLC ready to go. Well, I don't know what it is yet, but when they release Doom DLC, I'll be ready to jump on it. I am looking forward to it, mate. I want to play it full fat the way it was intended, And I think Corsair make a full size keyboard and Doom mouse. I want a Doom mouse, but they're stupidly expensive, like £200 for a keyboard. Nope.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. This was 104. And
okay, 104.
This is called a 65% keyboard grade because it's small.
Right,
but I like that. It feels weighty, substantial. It's got the clicks on it, but they're not noisy clicks. It's called silent. It's cherry red silent. So it's the advantages of red, which is good for gamers, but quieter. So I'm typing, you can't hear this.
But it's coming through the mic.
Oh, can you? Can hear it? Okay, it's not that quiet. It's a bit shit. So yeah, I enjoy this. I just wanted some Doom merchandise,
Yeah,
So between these two, we're laughing. Anyway, that's it. We've been talking about Doom for nearly 40 minutes now. Jesus.
That's okay. Yeah, well, I had to start this again, so I didn't know what the timing was on the other one. Hopefully it was... I think we did 30 minutes before it did what it did. But
anyway. I'll keep you right. We're about 37, so yeah.
All right, so we talk about Doom a lot because, hey, man, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
All right, so I had a pick up on an article I read. It was a PlayStation boss, or I think it was a boss or former boss, I forget. But he made a quote. He said it's an impossible equation for big budget studios to keep their prices down. And I'm going like, yeah, I don't know about that. So I wanted to see, what that was all about or what he was talking about and so forth. So obviously they're talking about the news about GTA 6 being $80, $90, or $100. And that we all said, and of course we were right, not brain surgeons, that when that was announced, everybody else is going to raise their prices even before the game comes out, which they now are doing. But basically he was saying that what was his quote? Because I'm sitting there going like, it sounded so okay. He goes, the problem, as he puts it, is inflation. I've heard that so many times, which is an unerringly boring subject, but also correct. It says, we live in contrasting times where inflation is real and significant, but people expect games that are ever more ambitious and therefore expensive to develop to cost the same. It's an impossible equation. And I'm thinking, doublespeak corporate talk. So I'm not saying that things don't go up in price and so forth, but when you start laying off people so that you can cut your costs, when you start using AI so you can cut your costs, and then you still come back to me and say that it's inflation and still charge all kinds of money, I'm not buying all that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Great. To add to the inflation comment, I quickly did a bit of Googling while you mentioned that, because I knew I was going to call that statement. Not you're just quoting what he said. I'm not having a go at you. The current inflation rate in the US is 2.3% as of April 2025, right? In the UK, as of April, it's 3.5%. So this inflation excuse that these, I don't often swear and I don't use heavy words and I won't use a heavy word, but these arseholes, these greedy arseholes that just keep sacking people to keep their profit margin really high, and then blaming it on things like inflation is ridiculous.
Mhm.
That is way beyond inflation, the prices they're putting these things up by, consoles and whatnot. And I already had the rant, I think, a couple of weeks ago, Gray, about the rest of the world paying for Trump and his bloody tariffs and stuff like that, because consoles were going up in all these other countries, and the last country that they'll go up in is the US, even though that's the main issue at the moment in terms of things coming in and getting taxed. So they'll all use that as an excuse, Gray, and it won't wash with people.
Oh, no. And the amazing thing is this: it's gotten to the point where, you can pull the wool over some people's eyes, but it's gotten to the point that even somebody that knows nothing about this or is not educated enough about this, you ain't pulling the wool over their eyes either anymore. I mean, it's so blatant that it's not even funny. The only thing that, and just to pile on a little more with that, they go, companies are keen to diversify their revenues. So what does he say? Oh, that means that's why we're making remakes and remasters, because basically, it's found money and it doesn't take much for us to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going like, okay, cool. I mean, and sometimes having some of those remakes is pretty neat, like Oblivion that we just had. But if you're going to sell it at a fairly high price point for a remake, and you're making money on it like hand over fist because you're not having to really put that much into it and reap the rewards, all the more reason why the games shouldn't go up in price, because you're making a crap load of money on the side doing something that's relatively simple compared to making a new game. So they're putting this out there trying to tell you that, like, well, we're doing this so we can get some money, but you're not doing anything about it. You're just making a lot more money and still keeping the games up at $80, $90, and $100. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think overall they're going to suffer in sales, because I'm not paying $100 for a game. You'd be lucky if I pay $70 for a game or 75, but I'm not paying 100. Sorry.
The exception to that is, of course, GTA, which people will pay that.
Not for me, maybe for you, but I'm not.
No. I'm not talking about you and I. I'm talking about the masses.
Yeah,
they will sell a shit ton of copies, even if it was $100, and people won't bat much of an eyelid. They might complain a little bit, but at the end of the day, they saw it. But it's the same thing with, I like to use an analogy with, like, football, like my football, with season ticket prices and for example, strip prices for like shirts and stuff. They go up £5 every year, and they went up to £80 just for a shirt.
Yeah,
ridiculous. Whereas at the end of the season, they'll make that same shirt £10 and still make a profit off it. I'm done with greed. It's
a very good analogy, and I was thinking the same thing, because over here it's not any different. People can buy season tickets to their team, and I used to have season tickets for many years, and I gave them up.
Go Dolphins!
Maybe 20 years ago, 20 years ago. Jesus, I gave it up like 30 years ago, because they were getting expensive then, and I had it for 20 years at that point. But I couldn't do it anymore. So now the season tickets are very expensive, and they don't need to be that expensive. But you know what? People keep buying them anyway. And in order to pay these god high salaries to these people, I'm not knocking the fact that they're talented. That's a separate subject. But they're getting all this money, and people are still paying it. And it's the same thing in the games. They're paying it anyway. Although I think that there's a bigger group of people on the game side that don't want to pay that, and I think some of them aren't going to pay that. Again, it depends maybe on the game. The only thing I think that could probably save the game industry is what's happening right now. You have the smaller groups putting out really quality games, but not charging $90 for it. They're charging like $50, $60. Some are even charging less. What was Enshrouded when it came out? $40?
No. It was, for me, it was like under 25, so probably like 35 really for you, example. Max.
Right, and they haven't charged us a dime for DLC yet, which is crazy. They're pumping out so much stuff, and there's no charge for any of it so far. I'm like, wow. And it's because they're smaller and they can make a decent profit margin, and they're not freaking greedy. So they're making good money and having a good life with it, and that's what we're asking, So I would rather see for every giant company right now making games, including Ubisoft, as much as I like Assassin's Creed, etc., I would rather see 10 little independents that are like Enshrouded, those guys. And the people that did Expedition 33, which is only like 30, 40 people. So I'm like, that's fine with me. Come on, let's have a bunch of companies that can do that and put out a game or two a year. And then when you multiply it times all these little guys that are doing such a good job, you have a whole bunch of great games coming out. I mean, there has not been some schlocky games out there. They've been good. I mean, there's been a good games coming out of these little guys. And it's like now I think we're like, yeah, man, bring it on. We don't need the AAA companies. Bring it on. Let's see it. Let's do it.
I don't object to companies like Sony making remasters and stuff to help fund their large AAA games. I don't mind it because at the end of the day, you don't have to buy them. And sometimes the remasters are actually pretty good. So Sony are one of the best at it, or worse, depending how you look at it, of their AAA games costing stupid amounts of money and taking 5-6 years to make. That game that I can't remember what it's called, that Naughty Dog are doing. I know it's not The Last of Us Part 3. That one we saw, the sci-fi type one. That's only 3 years into development. That's maybe only 50% through its development cycle. That won't be out for at least 2 years.
Oh
yeah, it's 5 to 7 years for games to be developed. Like in fact, even is it on my list? No, it's not my list. Even Nintendo, they started working on Mario Kart World or whatever the heck it's called. That new one came out in the Switch 2. They started working on that the day that Switch 1 was released 8 years ago. Wow. 7-8 years ago. They started working on it then. That's how long games take to bloody make, man. Wow.
I don't know. I can't see it taking that long. I think the bigger reason, too, is if you're taking 8 years to make a game like that, the technology is changing like every other year. So that means you're technically scrapping part of your game and then using new technology, then scrapping part of that and using the new technology over and over again. So, yeah, it's going to take 8 years because you could have put it out quicker, but you didn't, and now you got to upgrade while you're making it.
Well, when companies start making games that are going to take 5 to 7 years, right, they are essentially making that more often than not for the next generation of console. So they might start with making it for the current console because they might not know, unless they're a first-party studio, what the new console will look like. And they'll just start briefly designing it for that, but then more often than not, when they know more about what the new console is going to be, they just start changing everything over to that. It's literally taking a whole console generation, more or less, to make a game. It's nuts. That's why this cross-generation thing's still even more prevalent now. In fact, it's more so now, even worse than it was before.
Crossplay?
Things are not crossplay, cross-generation. So games up until maybe only a year ago were still coming out on PlayStation 4 and 4 Pro, as well as the 5 and 5 Pro. In fact, the Pro wasn't out that long, but you get the gist because of how long games take to bloody make. That's
crazy. I mean, if I'm going to wait for a big AAA game, I would rather wait the 3 years and play a Doom game because it's that good. But I don't want to wait that long, generally speaking. And if you can tell me that you're going to put out a game that's as good as Doom, and it's going to take you 3 years, I'll give you the 3 years. But look at what we've seen. We've seen rare games that come out to be as good as Doom. There are a couple, but not usually. And so I'm not waiting 3 or 4 years to finally play a game and go like, I waited this long for this? It's like, you know. Whereas with Doom, it's kind of like, I waited this long for this. You know, it's a little different.
Yeah,
anyway,
agreed.
last year I kind of just looked at, I thought it was interesting. I just wanted to get what your opinions were on this. Somebody put a thing out and says, well, here's 10 games that are like God of War Ragnarok that you should play next. And I'm sitting there thinking right off the top of my head, God of War and God of War Ragnarok are such good games, you know, on the par with Dooms and other things. And I'm going like 10 games that you should play that are like it. And I'm going like, there's not 10 games out there that are as good as God of War Ragnarok. So I had to see what this list was all about. So I'm going to go through the list, and then you can tell me whether you A, have heard of the game, or B, even think that it's close. Number 10, they said, was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, as far as a game that was as good as God of War Ragnarok.
Right.
I mean, I've heard good things about the game, but it depends on what you're basing it on. I think they're trying to base it only on like the story and I guess the feeling of that you get from the story. Does it move you? So it doesn't necessarily mean apparently that it would be as action packed.
You mean Hellblade the movie?
No, Hellblade the game. Senua's sacrifice.
You're missing the joke. I had a rant when I played the first bit of that game that it just seemed like a fecking movie, and I was hardly playing any games. I hated it, and there's heavy rumors that that's actually, maybe it's not even rumors now. Maybe it's official that that's coming to PlayStation as well because it's owned by Microsoft. So,
I mean, there's a group of people like it, and that's fine, but I don't see that one comparing. The next
Very beautiful and pretty great. It's just it should be a movie and not a game.
Exactly. The next one I can kind of go along with, and that's Elden Ring. Elden Ring is, whether you like the game or not, or whether you think it's too hard or not, isn't the point. The point is that the movie. See, you got me doing it now. The Elden Ring game is I think on a par with, or at least in the playability or how much you like it with God of War Ragnarok. Personally, I think Ragnarok's better, but what I'm trying to say is that, okay, I can kind of agree with that pick, Let's see what number 8 is. So number 8 is Devil May Cry, the definitive edition. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can agree with that one or not. That's kind of so-so for me.
I don't play the game. I've never played it, so I couldn't comment on it.
I've never really played it either, but I know enough about the game, and I just can't. I don't know whether that really equates at all. And again, I'm not telling for the people listening to us that it's a bad game or anything. Fine, go play it. But I'm going purely on the fact that they say it's like God of War Ragnarok, and I'm not seeing that.
It's the type of game. It's just the kind of genre and type. It's not necessarily trying to say it's better. It's just here's God of War, the kind of game it is, and here's games that are similar to it.
Right.
That's
exactly.
how I read it.
I'm not seeing the similarities that they're seeing, I guess is what it is. The other one was Bayonetta. Now, I played a little bit of Bayonetta, but and I'm not saying it's not a good game, but it's getting kind of dated now because it came out quite a long time ago. But it's more super fast paced than God of War was, much faster than God of War Ragnarok, and a little more into the kind of Japanese hack and slash kind of thing. And for people that like that kind of style, that's fine. I'm not really fond of that thing. It's that kind of style. But again, if I'm going to try to compare it to Ragnarok, I'm not seeing that either. I mean, it's quite different. So I don't see the similarities whatsoever. Game number 6, they said Rise of the Tomb Raider. That I do see the similarities right there because it's an adventure game. It's a real role-playing game. There's things to do. There's a good story. It has the kind of pacing that Ragnarok had. So yeah, I playing any of the 3 newer, they're getting older now, but newer Tomb Raiders is worth playing. In fact, if you haven't played any of the newer ones, go ahead and play it because they're better than a lot of games that are coming out now.
Tomb Raider is great. I like it, but I don't like the puzzles in it. I'm pissed off. I don't want to use my brain to play games. I use that for working every day. I want to do it. I hate puzzles.
Then you just go for the cheat codes on the puzzles and then move along.
Or one of Gray's guides.
Or one of my guides, right? Like, I agree with you. Some of them are I like because they're kind of cool, but other ones are like, again? And you're going like, no. Just get on with the story already. I'm having fun with the story. Number 5 was For Honor. I don't know enough about this game, but from what I know about it, I would think that it seems probably a good pick. When you're trying to make the comparisons or a game like it to be able to play. So I have heard lots of good things about it, so maybe I could go along with that one. Number 4, they picked Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, and I'm not seeing that. I don't know.
I've got it, and I really enjoy it. I've only started it though. It's one of these 10 million games I need to get around to come back to and finish it. But it's well,
it's similar to God of War Ragnarok.
In terms of the type of game, it's not properly open world, but you can, like, to an extent, a bit like Doom, wander around large, vast areas. It's got a good story behind it. It's very action orientated. I would say the difference is that Uncharted is a bit like, it's basically Sony's version of Tomb Raider. So it's got puzzles and stuff in it. So actually, maybe there's similarities, but it's not. There's other games that are more similar to. What am I trying to say?
I think it's more similar to Tomb Raider than it is to the God of War.
Well, yeah, probably, yeah.
Probably. Or whatever. Number 3, they said Dark Souls remastered. I guess I can kind of see that. Again, not my genre games that I particularly like, but I do understand perhaps the similarities there. But you notice they said Dark Souls remasters, not the new one.
Yeah, I tried the new one, but the one that was out on PlayStation 5. And after half an hour, I turned it off and went back to it. I went, how people play this and think this is fun, put themselves through this. Nope, done. And also as well, great that Expedition 33. You're like, Trevor, give that a try, you might like it. I was like, I watched it and I was like, nope. Not just that it was turn-based. I saw this Twitch streamer getting destroyed, and she's not crap at video games. I was like, nah, I'm no way I'm staying away from games like that.
Well, then maybe she had the difficulties up. I wasn't getting destroyed.
It was the big guy, the big underwater guy, the trumpet guy. He was just getting smashed up.
I don't know if I got that far yet. I will go back to that game because I really enjoyed it, and I don't care if I have to change the settings a little lower. I will, but it was such a good game just in the little bit I did. Really well written. That's what I liked about it. It was very well written, very well acted. And when you have something like that you can really sink your teeth into, that's actually got some quality behind it. It's kind of like the same thing again. An analogy again is the movies. If your story is not very good and you're making an RPG that's supposed to have a good story, then you better have a good story. And God of War Ragnarok really had a great story, and as well as the first game, and you get into it and you get emotionally wrapped up into it. That's what a good game should do. And stuff. And so I'm all for that. I don't see that in Dark Souls, but whatever. The Last of Us Remastered. They
should be called The Last of Us Part 1, by the way. That's poor titling.
And that's supposed to be comparable to God of War. The only thing, again, you played the game, and I'm thinking from the story aspect, it must be not the type of action, because it's a little different.
No. I would say that's one of the most similar type of games in that list to God of War. I'll be honest with you. I adore both of those games. Adore them. It's literally my top 3 best games of all time. That's how much I adore them. And I clump them together. Not 3 games, the 2 games that I clump them together. Phenomenal. It's in the top 3 as well. It's probably The Last of Us. It's probably The Last of Us, Doom, and Half-Life.
Oh, wait, that would have God of War.
Yeah, those 3 games are ahead of God of War.
Go top 5. Forget the top 3.
Yeah. God of War's in the top 5 as well, and Days Gone. Absolutely adored that. In fact, I had a tear in my eye playing that game, and I don't get emotional. That's how good the story was. Games like that with stories that just engross me and suck me into the world, and love it.
I think it depends on whether you like that subject matter or not. Like, I heard the same thing said about the Hellblade games, that people that really like it. They're really into the story, and I can understand that. But for me, it's kind of like, I got enough to deal with in the real world. I don't need a game that's quite like that, and stuff. And Last of Us, I'm glad you like it. I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't really pass judgment.
Well, it's out on PC. The first part's out. In fact, the second part's out or coming out, I think.
It's not a matter of whether it's not good or not. To me, it's just that I know enough about what happens in the game, and I saw the TV show, of course, too. And it's just not my cup of tea story wise. I would rather reach for a God of War or other games that as far as story wise goes. I'm not knocking it. It's just,
I love zombie stuff. Great, that's the thing. Like I adore the Walking Dead and the spin-offs from that.
Yeah, and see, I don't like pretty much any good zombie.
That's why I love this stuff. Post-apocalyptic as well. Throw it in. Great story, great characters. Like just and it's the finale of season 2 of The Last of Us next week. I'm pretty sad.
Oh, and by the way,
because it'll be 2 years before we see another fucking season. Right.
for which one now?
Last of Us.
Okay.
Another 2 years before we see another season. I don't know why.
I'm totally different. I I didn't really care that much for the first season. I thought half of it was great, and the other half was eh. And so it was too inconsistent.
My favorite episode of that, Greg, was something that didn't feature in the game. Was the gay couple, Phil and whatever his name was, like to see their lives from they grow old together and stuff, and it was so sweet and it was amazing. They're only briefly in the game.
And that to me, that's part of the problem too with the TV series, because it's like it was. I put that as probably the best of the entire series.
Yeah.
And it really didn't even have Joel or what's her face in it much at all.
Yeah.
And stuff. But that's different now. If they could have had if it could have had its own series based on those guys and
a spin-off, I'd have that 100%. Yes,
exactly. Then I think I would watch it. I would watch that. It's just that the problem with Last of Us is it's just not consistent. It just went from one really good episode to like what?
It's based closely on the games, which I respect. And the second season, I won't spoil it. If you play the games, that does actually happen, and you're like, oh my god, okay. And I won't say that for people that haven't played the games. But if you play the games, you know what I'm talking about.
Well,
I couldn't believe it.
You're right. I'm not going to spoil it, but they're wondering like how or whether the second season on TV is going to do as well, because people were really, you know what. So I won't say it because it's still a little bit fresh. However, they said their number one game that's like Ragnarok's, of course, Last of Us Part 2.
Because it's more intense. It's ramped up, basically. It's like The Last of Us.
But if I was doing this list, I wouldn't have done it because it's still the same game. It's Last of Us.
It's not. You don't know that because you haven't, I assume, seen the second season of the program, and you haven't played any of the games. So, with all due respect, Ray, I don't see how you could actually say that. And I would have went for a different genre. I've played both games. The second game is a lot more intense than the first. Like a lot more intense, I think. Like I was actually exhausted towards the end of it, wanting it to end, not because I didn't enjoy it, but because my head was burst. It was so exhausting, man. And it was actually too long of a game, believe it or not, the second one. I believe they'll only ever make a third game if they have a story good enough for it to justify it, which is good. I want an excellent story. Otherwise, it's everything about that franchise is based around quality. So, yeah. Yes.
That's it for my game news. Trev, you're up with some hardware tech news, so I'll let you take it from here.
I am. I am. Some small disappointing news from Nintendo being a little bit shady. One of Nintendo have always been behind for many, many years of the latest tech iterations. They've given up keeping pace with Sony and Microsoft, which, they go in their own unique way and it works for them, but I wanted them to keep up to date in the latest tech offerings as well. And while the Switch 2 will have like DLSS and be able to upscale and stuff, one of the cool features that they did advertise at the start was VRR, variable refresh rate, which for those that don't know, basically means if your TV supports it, and a lot of TVs do now, and the console or the PC supports it, the card supports it, then if your frame rate's going up and down, you won't get screen tearing, and it'll be a lot smoother. Now, it's still going to be a thing in portable mode VRR because it's built into the chip supports it. But when you dock it, which is what I'll be doing 9.9 times out of 10, I don't play games on the go. VRR has been removed from their listings as if I don't think it was ever on the cards for docked play. So you connect it to your PC, or your TV. Yeah. Even though my TV can support VRR, I won't get VRR support, which is really disappointing. I don't understand why it can be done on a hardware level, and yet they're going to pull it. So they started slowly pulling us down from listings. Sneaky, very sneaky, like Nintendo. The way that.
What I don't understand is if it's such a good feature, which it sounds like it is, why? So in other words, when you stick the game into the dock, boom, it's gone.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't enable one or two because it is there in a hardware level because it supports it in dock play. So,
by the way, I don't know enough about it like you do, but can you play it on your TV without the dock?
No.
So you're stuck to the dock, unfortunately.
And even if you took out the dock and you connected it with a cable, it's still the exact same thing. It goes into TV mode, and I don't understand the logic behind it. All I can maybe think is not everyone has a TV that has VRR in it, which is fine. but then you just put subject to your TV having VRR. That's how you cover yourself. Honestly, Nintendo, you're so fecking backwards sometimes. I love you, but then in other ways I hate you because you're so backwards. And you also sneak around in people's bloody Discords looking for all the evidence to go and sue people. It's pretty sad. Get a grip, you losers.
That's right. It's like, get alive.
I do love them, and I hate them at the same time because they're obviously doing whatever they do, like whatever they do, the thing that they're doing it very well. Because Switch 2 pre-orders are through the roof. It's going to blow everything out the water. It's got the highest selling console of all time in the Switch, or it's just about to take that position. Yeah. So, just really disappointing because
that's coming,
I would play it on TV.
In a couple of weeks, right? June?
Yes, I've got a week off work. It's coming out June 5th.
Okay.
And Amazon don't send it to me to June the 7th. I hope I hope it comes a day or two early because I'll be pissed off, man. That's why I got this back in. I had it at one point.
Yeah.
The Zelda game.
My son's really into it, so
it will be upgraded.
We were able to get one for him, so my son. So he's waiting too for it to come out.
If you've got the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack offering, you get some of the upgrades for free. It's not going to be 4K, which is annoying. It'll be 1440p, but better than nothing. Yeah. Moving on from that. I get excited about things like this. Not quite on the level of Digital Foundry and the Doom 1 hour and a half long video. Yeah. My head hurt after that. It really hurt. But the next iteration of AMD's FSR, their machine learning upscaling tech, has been nicknamed or labelled Redstone. Right now, it sounds like something that bloody Jason Bourne. It really does, man. The Bourne identity, should I say? But they're already working on this, which is mental considering FSR 4 is brand new. FSR Redstone is scheduled for the second half of 2025. I want my AMD GPU back. I feel bad now. Yeah, some of the features in this are going to be neural radiance cache. I'll get to them. Ray regeneration. I mean, that just sounds very Borgified to me, Gray. Yeah. The Borg are experimenting with bloody ray tracing now, mate. What next, Jesus?
Their cubes run on Fisser.
A little joke for the Trekkies out there. And machine learning assisted frame generation. Now, they don't really go into the minutiae in this article of what each of these things are. I think it literally was a bit of a tease, but what they do say is NRC, or Neural Radiance Cache, it will check how light bounces in the scene to help predict and store indirect lighting. So it's all around the ray tracing side of things. It's just that efficiencies and improving on the previous generation. And then they say ray regeneration, which is direct computation to NVIDIA's DLSS ray reconstruction. With ray regeneration, a trained neural network is used to regenerate. More of this Borg talk, man. Resistance is futile. We're all screwed. Is used to regenerate pixels that cannot be accurately path traced, right? And then what was the last thing I said there? Assisted frame generation. Well, we kind of have that at the moment already with NVIDIA cards at the moment. Hopefully this is something similar to that, because on 4,000 or 5,000 series cards, you get up to 4-time frame generation. So, and it's not great at that level. So, there's another further enhancement, super resolution. Oh, well, right beside a sports car, of course it is. Upscaling capabilities with FSR Redstone. This is achieved with enhanced ML model, and finally we have machine learning assisted frame gen, and that takes the visual fidelity to the next level. Because the problem is, Gray, when you put these fake frames in and stuff, it adds to the latency because it's drawing from nothing, so that takes time to think. And visual fidelity is a problem because when you add all these things in, it comes at the hit of, and I never noticed this because you need to have a trained eye. You'll see little artifacts and stuff in the background, especially if it's slower moving or you pause it. This is what NVIDIA are doing really well, cleaning up the shit and the noise in the background while this is happening. In fast action games, you don't notice it, but in slower action games, you may notice it. So it's about putting these technologies into place, but cleaning up the shit in the background, and that's what they're doing here. So they done a little video at this. I don't know if you probably could Google it and find out. I don't know if it was Computex. 2 days ago, it might have been May 20th. So I found that cool. We already know PlayStation's working on the latest, next version of Pisser, as Gray likes to call it, FSSR. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. They're working on the latest version of that. They might just call it bloody FSR4, and because, as we said the other week, they've got a bigger, if not a bigger, more than 50% stake and development cost in this than AMD themselves do, because Sony are probably a bigger company than AMD in terms of budget and whatnot and R&D. So they probably got bigger dibs on it, but I think AMD just probably got the rights to release it first. So yeah, I found that cool. Pretty, I like my tech news. Staying on the AMD hype train, there's a lot more AMD stuff that came out from Computex. We'll let Tarl cover that next week, okay? But the other thing that came out is, I love this, I was about to knock Gray for his hardware news later on, and then I come up with something similar to it, so I won't knock you, Gray. Okay. AMD's Ryzen Threadripper, right? Which, for those that don't know, is the core, the CPU that has 10 billion gazillion bloody cores on it, right? That's for the high-end multitaskers, right? Which neither Gray or I are, to be fair. The 9000 Zen 5 CPUs are official. They're up to 96 cores.
Jeez.
Doing that Dr. Evil style for those that are listening, right? 96 feckin'. I've got 8 cores, right? So I've got 8. Gray's got more, but I've got the best gaming chip in the planet at the moment, so I don't need more than it. 8 cores, up to 5.4 gigahertz, 384 megabytes of L3 cache. Oh my God. Great, that's a shit ton, by the way. That's even more than the famous 9800 that I'm running at the moment. Now,
and it only costs.
Well, yeah, there's no cost. There is no cost. That's the thing. So yeah, up to 96 cores, which equates to 192 threads. It's PCI Express 5.0 with up to 128 lanes. It has to be up to 8-channel DDR5 6400 mega transfers RAM. Now, it's obviously bonkers. I don't know which board design it's coming out on, like socket design. I would presume it's not AM5 because AM5 is what they're using at the moment, and AM5 will not fit. Have you ever seen a Threadripper chip up close, Gray?
Yeah, they're nice sized chips.
They're huge, man. It won't fit in my motherboard. Just won't. Yeah. So there must be whatever iteration it's on. I don't see it here in the article. It's huge, and then you need a big, massive cooler for it. Now, when it says up to 5.4
the doom of all chips.
The doom of all chips. You don't want this for gaming, ladies and gents. Do not get this for gaming. You're literally pissing money up against the wall if you do that. The 5.4 gig, I'd imagine it would be only on so many cores. There's no way you're running 5.4 and even close to
cores.
yeah, you wouldn't be. You'd be running it in way under half the cores, mate. Probably a quarter of the cores at best.
I just have something funny in relation to what I'm going through with my chip. Can you imagine if somebody gives you one of those and they just go like, listen, we need you to overvolt and undervolt certain cores. You'd be working on it forever.
People don't care. Like they generally don't care.
1, 2.
So the base clock is 2.5 gig, right? I was just running at base and doing normal stuff, but it cranks up to so many. I mean, it's got an exclamation mark here. Like, does it say? Let me see if I find this exclamation mark, because that could literally typical, nothing to say what the exclamation marks for, or the bullet point, because that would have told me more about it. So yeah, AMD Pro technology. This is the Pro series. There we go. There's the socket STR5, and it's got a 350 watt TDP, which is actually pretty impressive considering how many bloody cores it's got. That is the top end, Gray. It goes all the way down to a 12-core Threadripper, which I really don't see the point in that. It's just a normal bloody
How can you
chipped in,
call
if
it
you ask me.
Threadripper if it's only got 12
Yeah,
cores on
because
it?
like the 9950X 3D has got 16 cores on it, so I don't get that. But yeah,
if you think about it, Threadripper, Rip and Tear, Doom. See?
well,
Goes
no, because
along.
it's not a gaming chip, man.
Yeah, I know, but you know.
But they should have brought out, if they brought out, the thing is, they couldn't even bring out a gaming CPU because it's covered up always with cooling, so you never see it. But yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, so the top end, the model is the 9995WX, aka the Billy Big Balls edition. And good luck cooling that, ladies and gents, right? Because that's bloody nuts. I'm just looking at a picture of the die, and wow. It's a thing of beauty, mate. There's people that literally, I've thought of doing this, there's people that put pictures in their walls of like not joysticks, like control pads opened out, like special editions, or like CPUs and stuff opened and like, you know, like a tech display, like nicely done.
Yeah.
I know some people find that sad. I find that kind of cool, actually. Maybe one day I would actually start doing things like that. But we'll
rip that stuff up, paint it gold, and then
we'll rip it up. There's no release date. Oh no, there is July 2025, but no cost. AMD are notorious for this. They did decide about their general CPUs until last minute. They were even asking influencers what they think in terms of cost. That was last minute it brought out that, so they're a bit ridiculous. Now, the last thing, and I'm keeping an eye on the time for it's great. Oh boy. A lot of controversy this week, unfortunately. Unfortunately, bad news sells. There was a couple of things on this, right? Now, Bungie bosses pitched Destiny 2 subscription model, but it was actually shot down by developers. Now, the reason I mention this is they're in quite a bit of trouble at the moment with plagiarism, right? Plagiarism is really bad at, and a grade drops off again, quality. Plagiarism is a bad thing at the moment with Bungie and their new game Marathon. Their new game Marathon is coming out. It's supposed to be later this year, but it'll probably get delayed. Probably massively delayed because they were literally caught out for stealing artwork from this guy from a number of years ago. Bungie say it was down to a rogue artist. It's Banksy, ladies and gents that know their art. Banksy, the London guy that puts random art and no one knows who he is. It's Banksy, ladies and gents, blaming him. And he's been let go, this guy. But the art's all the way through the game, so they're in deep doo-doo grey. That'll probably get delayed.
It kind of makes you wonder, like, how did they get that far? You know?
Well, no QAs, obviously, or they knew and they just didn't give a damn. There's more controversy to add into that even further still, that former employees of Bungie are claiming toxic working environments, that Bungie is all about money, making money, and they are literally, that's why the subscription model was advertised. And developers were like, no, this is a bad idea. They're trying to squeeze even more money out of us. This is why they're going in the direction they are with Destiny now. Well, actually earning more money. And they're just about money. It's toxic working for them at the moment, Gray. People are miserable and unhappy. And I'm not talking about the grind that you get. That's been relaxed in the industry somewhat. Yeah. Burnout, fatigue, but literally all the decisions they make are about making more money. It's kind of disgusting at the moment. In fact, this artist, actually, there we go. It's actually a Scottish artist. His name is Fern Hook. He has the online username of, it's very catchy, this, 4NT1R34L.
Sure, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. It was proven, actually. So there's a number of things going on here, man. It's just the toxic working environment, the fact that Sony bought Bungie and literally said, like, we buy you because you guys are good at live service games, which they are, to be fair. Like, Destiny's very popular. I've done a lot for them. And we want you to go around our portfolio and tell us what works and what doesn't. Bungie went round and more or less cancelled The Last of Us live action multiplayer game, which would have been phenomenal because it's Naughty Dog, it's The Last of Us. If you played The Last of Us Part 1 back in the day, like the PS3 and then the remastered PS4 era, they had a multiplayer bolted on for free then called Factions. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. You played, I can't remember the name of the clans, but you were the bad guys that are kind of like soldiers and stuff, and then you were up against the kind of the sneaky guys like your Joe, your Ellie and stuff that went round with the bow and arrows were sneaky, and the mechanics that they used for it was really cool, and they were expanded on this massively. And Bungie went, that will never work. That'll suck. We the Kings sacked it, got it cancelled, and I'm getting really pissed off at Bungie now, man. I really am. The amount of boo-boos and feck-ups they've had recently, great, really, really bad. And I don't want them to be shit because they're the original makers of Halo.
Yeah,
they are the godfathers of Halo and Destiny 1 and 2. And what do you make of this, Gray?
You know what? I think I've become numb to all this because we keep on hearing it over and over again with different companies. I mean, they're not the only one. So it's like, it's almost like a disease that's run rampant through the AAA industry or something. We keep hearing the same kind of things: working conditions, shenanigans going behind the scenes, and et cetera, et cetera. And you think when we wouldn't be seeing these stories anymore because they realize that they're cleaning up their act, but then another one comes out like this, and it's just as bad. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of the reason why you should have a smaller company. It's a lot easier to handle and to police your small organization than it is a giant that gets out of control.
Yeah, 100%. It's a sad state of affairs, man. It really is I think Sony should. Thing is, the Bungie board are pretty much left alone by Sony. Sony need to come in and go, right, we're disbanding you guys. We're actually going to run it, or we'll hire our own guys because I say what you want about Sony. I think they run a well-oiled machine. And I think they'll do well. Sorry, Greg, I think I literally skipped over your part. I think I got angry about the whole Bungie marathon thing. I may as well carry on if you don't mind. And then, actually, to be fair, we tend to not have two sections of any one person side by side, like one after the other. So I kind of split it up and changed it. Should have just left it the way it bloody was. What? I'm going to made a lot more sense.
Don't worry about it. Just keep rolling. It's game news, everybody, by the way, if you haven't figured it out.
It is game news, yeah, sorry. So the other thing that I think, I'll speak for both Gray and I, Injustice 3 is heavily rumoured to be in the works. Now, I can't stand fighting games. I think they suck. They blow, in fact, right? So this might be confusing why I'm excited about this. But it's because, I can't remember the chap's name now, begins with an M, on YouTube. He literally rips all the cutscenes from games and puts them together and releases it as a movie. Gray knows about this guy. He done it for the Mortal Kombat games. It was like a movie. I loved it. He blends them well together as well. Injustice 1 and 2 were the same. Gray and I are big superhero geek fanboys. So to see Injustice, which is around DC superhero characters gone wrong, was fascinating. The video game, Suicide Squad, was kind of based around taking out the bad Justice League characters, but this is literally bad versions of DC characters. And I loved the first two games. The cutscenes turned into a movie were fascinating. To see a bad Superman, to see all these bad characters was great. I do remember actually, Gray, the Superman was up in space. This is to do with the game. Superman's up in space with like a ripped cape and stuff, like recharging, getting a top up from his Tesla battery solar power thing, and he hears Lex Luthor's in the mech suit with his hand in Wonder Woman's throat. Now, because he's bad Superman, he's obviously smashing Wonder Woman, for the want of a better phrase, like as you do, like superheroes, he's getting it on. He's up there recharging. I'm not presuming after he's done the deed, like he's been fighting crime and whatnot. And the hand goes on the throat of Wonder Woman in the mech suit, and she kind of lets out a scream. And Superman comes flying down at like the speed of bloody, never mind sound, light, zooms down.
Warp speed.
And then he's obviously, warp speed. And now it's a trap because there's there's kryptonite kind of liquid in Wonder Woman's mouth, and that kind of takes super. This is all in the cutscene in the game. You can see if you're a superhero fan how fascinating it was. So to see this again, because these are the guys. Are these the same guys that make NetherRealm? The guys that make no, they're not. They're not the same guys that make Mortal Kombat. To be fair, I think this is this Warner Brother Games? I want to say Warner Brother Games. So stick to what you know. It's one
of the biggest or most successful franchises. So
actually, tell a lie. No, the first two Injustice games were developed by NetherRealm. Yes, it was. They're owned by Warner Brothers, and they make Mortal Kombat. You're seeing a common trend here, right? Yeah. And Warner Brothers, after they made the Suicide Squad game, which bombed. And by the way, I've played a bit of it. It was free in the PlayStation Pass. It's actually not that bad. I think they just hyped it up to be something what it is. The amount of money they put into it, if it was a AA title, it would have been a lot more successable. Should have never been live service either.
If NetherRealm was not making the third ones, that could be a bad sign.
No. It doesn't really say, because again, it's just a rumor. Great, I'd imagine it would be. It doesn't make sense. I think Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, the high Hegian of Warner Brothers, was cutting a lot of stuff. He's the one that told us about the last Mortal Kombat game before the bloody studio did. He opened his mouth. The guys at the studio were like, "What are you doing, Dave? You fucking shut up, man! You're throwing us under a bus." But he's the CEO. What are you going to do? Yeah. So they're literally, Warner Brothers are going to just stick to the games that they're known for. Right, just make Mortal Kombat and Injustice games, because you're really, really good at fighting games. The last game was released in 2017. Oh my God, was it that long ago? Wow.
That didn't seem like that. Wow.
Yeah, they'll make another Hogwarts Legacy game, because that's another popular game as well. Yeah. No clue when that would be, to be honest with you guys. But
anywhere from 1 to 10 years.
Well, no, I think they'd be well into development of this. I'll be honest with you. I've got a funny feeling. I do have a funny feeling this would be something. Right, kind of starting to wrap up a little bit more here. Couple of mobile phone gaming related things, because while we're not really into it, we don't cover it much. It will be in the future probably the biggest platform to game on, as mobile phones get and tablets get
big right now. We just just don't realize.
No, it's number one in China, and I know that's a saying that people say, but it literally is number one in China for gaming at the moment. Call of Duty Warzone, or Call of Duty Mobile, which is a thing, very popular. They sell a lot of kind of in-app purchases in China, Gray. They decided about a year ago to bring out the Warzone for mobile. How they pulled it off is amazing. It looks very decent. And don't get me wrong, listen, if you're on the go a lot and you have a mobile or a tablet, you hook up a controller to it. It's actually a very cool and practical way to game. It's better than doing it over the cloud. That would be my preference. But Warzone,
have a Steam Deck or something.
True. Well, it's a option, but everyone's got a mobile phone, so you don't have to buy another device.
Obviously, there's millions of people playing this stuff, so...
yeah, hundreds of millions, mate. So Warzone is shutting down a year after coming out. Activision just say that it didn't meet expectations. Now, they don't really go into detail about that, but I just don't think it made as much money as they basically wanted.
Yeah.
Excuse me, if you read between the lines.
Yeah.
It's all about money, isn't it? So, yeah, that's a little bit of a shame, but I never played it much anyway. And another thing, after, 5-6 years, Fortnite is coming back to the iOS App Store.
Wow. I think I read an article today. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. It's already in the App Store, and it's already number one.
Well, here's the caveat. The US App Store.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The US App Store, it'll probably be in the EU App Store soon after. Now, I've got a funny feeling we're screwed in the UK because some numpties decided to leave the bloody EU in the UK. So those rules don't apply to us, so we probably won't get Fortnite back in iOS. I've got a lot of respect for Tim Sweeney at Epic for fighting the big machine that is Apple.
Yeah.
They're a monopoly, man. They've managed to... They dragged their heels in this one, Gray. Right? Even after a judge went, you will allow alternative app stores out there, so that basically when you go to play an Epic game now, or any games in the future, see when it comes to buying in-app purchases, normally Apple would get 30%. You get an option, pay through the App Store or pay through Epic and only get charged 27% and will give you in-game currencies and credits.
Right.
What are you going to choose? You're going to choose the cheaper one, the better one, right?
Makes
and
total sense, sure.
This is what Apple get for being greedy. 30% I always thought was way too much. The judge went, you will relax it. Not only will you relax it, you will allow the game back into the App Store, right? It was this lady judge, right? She's don't mess with this lady, man. She was pissed off.
You know, I hate to say it, but this is typical Apple behavior. This is what they do. You think they would change some, and they have a little, but not much. I mean, and then they realize like, I guess we finally lost, but we won in the long run. Like, no, you didn't.
Well, they didn't. It's they were told to bring it back to the US App Store. They denied it initially. They literally denied it. Apple went, listen, Fortnite went, we're actually willing to drop some of these lawsuits or part of this lawsuit if you actually allow the game back in the App Store. You know, we won't be so pernickety and anal about all this. And Apple approved, but then they were dragging their heels. And Fortnite or Epic put an iteration of the game on the App Store. And after this happened, after this iteration came about, they literally just denied it. They literally denied the latest update of Fortnite to the App Store. Apple were being pernickety. It was like kids going, oh, no, this is our ball. We're just going home now. They denied it. So the judge literally forced them to put it on, and they approved their latest update. It's just ridiculous and petty from Apple.
It's almost like two kids in a playground. Like, you have, no, I don't. Yeah, you do. No, I don't. And it's
saying
like,
that,
come on.
Epic should be charging 27%. They charge 13% on their Epic launcher on PC. So how about you actually don't charge as much, Epic? So anyway, can't really complain. I like the fact that Apple are getting forced to do these things. If it wasn't for the European Union forcing Apple to change the Lightning port at the bottom to USB-C, so it's universal, the rest of the world would not be getting these changes. So we thank the EU, I guess, for that one. But yeah, man, I could go into the minutia of this, but I don't want to. I just thought that was a kind of big deal, because it is a big deal.
Yeah,
and Matt put in here versus Roblox, but he's not here to tell me what the hell that means, so I can't comment on it.
Well, you know what the Roblox is.
I know what Roblox is, but I don't know what the comparison's got to do in that respect. So
we'll figure it out when he comes on next time.
But yeah, man. So yeah, it's a lot of Trev. I apologise. You've got a lot of Graker up now.
That's fine. Obviously, we're not going to do the gaming quiz this week, because there's only two.
No, next week.
You really need at least three or more to do that.
Yeah.
So I think what I'll do is I was going to talk a little bit. Well, yeah, go ahead.
We get half an hour, man. We'll get 20 minutes at least. So go for it, man.
I don't do AI Corner that often, but I like to pop up every once in a while and talk about it. And sometimes it's related to games, sometimes it's not. But the thing that caught my eye this time with this whole thing is an article. Actually, it's two articles. One article came out, and 2 days later, another one came out, which is how it works because AI moves so fast. But basically, the one I read says Google has a AI called Alpha Evolve, and that it is now finally tested for writing its own code, which it's doing, and they claim it's saving them millions of dollars in computing costs. And I'm like, really? So I'm sitting there looking through this, and apparently it is writing its own code. Now, again, we're not Skynet yet, but it's getting closer and closer to Skynet at this rate. But when you start seeing that it can write its own code, meaning that it can basically write whatever it wants, there is safeguards and parameters in there. But I just get a little leery when I start seeing stuff like this. And I'm going, yeah. I mean, things move too fast in the AI world, and there's going to be a point where it's going to move so fast that you're not going to be quick enough to stop things, and that's when it's going to get interesting, I guess we'll say. But okay, let's just go on the good side of it. And they said basically it boosts efficiency, solves mathematical problems that have stumped researchers for decades. So it is kind of interesting when you think, like, there's certain things that we've been trying to figure out for so long, and AI has been figuring it out in a couple of days. So things like that are kind of amazing, especially when we're talking about science and we're talking about medicine and things like that. You can put something to work on something that normally probably took you a decade to figure out, and it'll do it in like a week, or even if it only did a year, you just shaved off 9 years of work. So again, like anything else, it can help or hurt mankind. But when I was reading that, I just kind of like, wow. And then I thought that was enough right there. But then 2 days later, OpenAI introduces Codex, the first full-fledged AI agent for coding. So now we have Google and theirs doing coding by itself, or not by itself, but being able to do it. And now we have this. And it was funny because the one that OpenAI did had they had a picture of the prompt, and it's so interesting. It says, "What should we code next?" So they type in my current project, find a bug in the last 5 commits and fix it. It just said here, there's a couple bugs in here, just fix it. And it just goes, okay, and it goes off on its thing and comes back a little while later, okay, fixed. And I'm like, wow, man. So then I started thinking, like, as crazy as that is, I start thinking about gaming again, right? And we were just arguing about the fact that, well, it takes so darn long, to do the game, and it shouldn't take that long, and they need to save money. Now, again, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to say that it should pit people out of business or out of work. But let's face it, if you're looking at it objectively, that's already happening, and it will happen. It's a matter of
there's so many engineers that are going to be put out of a job, great coders and whatnot.
Oh yeah, and these are the guys. Well, what's funny about that too is some of these engineers are the ones that made these things.
Yeah.
That put them out of their own job. The whole idea with a new technology is it's supposed to create new jobs, and generally speaking, throughout history, that's how it's happened.
To quote South Park, if you watch South Park, you know where I'm going with this one. Mm-hmm. They took our jobs, right?
Yeah,
that's South Park line for they took our jobs.
So I started thinking about this, and I'm going like, all right, well, let's just put aside those problems for a second and just say, like, all right, you don't need to charge me $100 for games, because now you can have the AI write part of your game on code, because it's not a matter of the story. It's a matter of coding. So if I come to you with a story that's fantastic and you see the potential if it could be a game, well, I'm a writer that wrote the story that you like so much and you bought the rights from me, but I have no clue how to code this thing into a game. So now they can literally give it to, and this is what's going to happen, or is happening, or will happen really fast. So they can sit there and they can take that game and say, like, all right, we need to get all this crap code, and it's going to take forever and now this thing will whip it out in like 10 times faster than any human can. So technically, that means that I don't want to hear any more excuses, because as this goes along, they're going to incorporate this into gaming as well as other things like they're doing. So that means that now you've cut your workload down by, 20, 30, 40, 50%? It's quite possible. So that means there is no more excuse for waiting 4 years to get a game out. You can probably do it in a year, or 2. So, and because you put it out so fast, and because it doesn't cost much of anything to have the AI do all this work for you, then you have no reason to sit there and raise the prices to $100. End of rant. So there's the AI corner for today.
Well, that was the AI ranty corner, yeah.
Yeah, contemplate that for a while, people out there. I'll give you more reasons why.
I am a little bit interested in this because I cover a lot of it at work.
Right,
so
and I'm interested because I just interested because it's cool. I mean,
I do a lot of it. It's interesting. It can be fascinating, actually. To be fair, we use exclusively Gemini because we're Google at work. So we don't use any other competition, because that Gemini, without getting into a really long story here, Gemini for Enterprise keeps things doesn't take the data you put in and train it to make the AI better, because it's sensitive company data, whereas the other AIs, because they're open, they're public, do. So we're literally told at work, you should not use ChatGPT, you shouldn't use anything else because it might take the work data and train it, and that's a leak. So it's pretty fascinating, all this, man, and how it involves with gaming and stuff. And we have a lot of coders in my work, a lot of engineers. In fact, my office is more engineer and coding focused than any of our other offices. So maybe some of them will be without a job in the future. Oh, shame.
Many years ago, going back like 20 years ago, I did some basic coding and I don't forget what program it was, but it was a program that created a research.
It must be
question.
Python or C++, mate. You're that old.
I don't remember, man. It had a name, but I don't know what it was. But basically, it was just coding for people to for focus groups and things, and I'm not. I believe me, I don't want to do coding. It drives me crazy. But they needed help, so I learned how to do it. But man, once I started getting into it, I'm sitting there going like, "Oh my god, this is definitely not for me." Like,
no, I tried it as well, mate. I went back to uni to do my masters, and I thought, oh, this could be cool. Let's do ethical hacking, right? Ethical hacking. So hacking for the good guys, right? Basically, is what that is. And we started coding, and I was like, "Oh my god, right? I'm out. I'm done. I've just quit. No way. I know my limits, and I have no shame in quitting. I knew it wasn't. I'm really shit at math. You kind of need to be decent to good at math for coding to make sense and be good at math coding, and I wasn't.
It's almost like taking I never liked word problems. I don't care what you say or what it is. Word problems would just drive me crazy. And some people could just look at it and go like, "Well, it's no problem. I know the answer."
No, I'm crapping.
My brain's not wired for word problems. So when you start doing this kind of coding, that's what it looks like. It looks like math and a bunch of freaking word problems. And I'm sitting there going like, oh man, my brain is definitely not built for this.
Yeah.
So no disrespect to the coders out there, but man, I would employ one of these AIs to write the code in a flash and just say, this is what I need. Write the stupid gobbledygook that makes it happen. You know?
The output is only as ever as good as the input, Gray, when it comes to any AI. If you get shit results back, it's because you have not put enough stuff into it. So.
Right, exactly. I'm just going to cover one more story, and I think we'll call it a day.
You're good, man. You've got loads of time. Why are you panicking?
No, I know that, but it's not lots of time. But this is an interesting story. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, our listeners out there, but there is a video card called the NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000. Mm-hmm. And I looked at this and I'm going like, really? I don't remember hearing about that anywhere.
It's like the Quadro. It's like the Quadro cards for like CAD designers and stuff.
Yeah, this is supposed to be heavy duty, more on the enterprise side.
Don't use this for gaming. Don't use this for gaming, guys. It doesn't use RTX drivers. It doesn't use gaming drivers. It'd be a waste of money.
Right, but despite that, okay, this thing is starting to find its way. It is a Blackwell card, by the way. Blackwell card.
Yeah, but it's not designed for gamers at all.
It's got 96 gigabytes of VRAM. And it costs like $10,000, but here's the thing. It's already found its way into some retail stores in Japan.
It's leaked early.
And the EU.
It's leaked early, has it?
I don't understand, but all I know is in Japan and EU, some retailers have already got them, and they're charging them anywhere from £8,982 to.
Oh, I know those guys, Lambda Tech. I know them. Well, not personally, but I know of the seller, the retailer. Jesus Christ!
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, well,
Gray, that's a good price, actually. I know, that sounds nuts, but what you're getting
for what it is, I guess.
Think about it. An RTX 5090 is about £2,000, $1,900, right?
Yeah, more.
This is under $8,000 for so much more power. Yeah, it's about right, and it includes VAT, so you're not paying extra taxes. It's actually less than that.
In the EU, it's actually almost £11,000, and that translates to $12,391.
Euros in the EU, my man.
And the funny thing about this is, I think you may have mentioned it, but it's a used card. This is not new. These are cards that were taken out of service that are fine, but they're not new. So you're paying $12,000 for a used card, even though it's powerful. But I'm trying to think now. If you get one of these things, what do? You're going to have to be pretty smart to be able to sit there and try to adapt it to work in your gaming computer.
I love it, mate. I love it. I wanted a Founders Edition. I always go for the Founders Edition if I can, but it's hard to get them. I wanted a Founders Edition RTX 5080. Couldn't get them. I just like them because they're clean. They're clean, just black with nice lines. And and this card just looks lovely. It looks
just like it.
I want it.
I can't tell. Like, I wish they had something in to show the relation of size, like somebody's hand was there or something.
Someone's hand is there in the last two photos.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, great. It's about the size of a 5090.
It's
small. It's smaller than a 4090. The actual 90 series,
yeah.
the 90 card this time around was smaller than last gen.
Yeah.
This is more efficient.
That's pretty big though. I mean, yeah. It
No,
looks
but
nice
for
though, doesn't it?
for what's
It's
in
got
it,
that plastic see-through thingy in the front.
Look at the second picture at the back. It's all like matte black. It all blends in, man. I like that. See for people that've got OCD issues like me, that calms my nerves. I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, the only thing I hate about black stuff that it's done black like this, and I'm sure you've run into this too.
Oh, it's called Blackwell.
Well, no, that's not the only reason. But what I'm saying is, even regular things like TVs, computers, and other electronics or whatever, everything is painted black, so that when you're looking at an input that you need to put your plugs into, the variety of plugs that you have, you can't read the damn things because they're all black. You got to get a flashlight so you get some reflection to be able to see where you're plugging them.
True, but I mean, it looks nicer. You don't see the back of your card anyway.
Yeah, the reason isn't because of the looks that you can't see it. It's because if they had to sit there and put, like, let's say, white paint across the letters only of every one of these, that would change the cost and make it more too expensive for you to buy.
Well, there is white. The writing's in white on this.
Yeah, but those are
picture.
stickers. Those are stickers, though. Those stickers
no, not in the first photo at the bottom when he's holding it in the car. Side long ways, it's that's actually
where it says XCR Pro 6000.
Yeah, that's not sticker.
Yeah, but that's for looks. I get that. I understand. Yeah. It does look cool. I mean, if I could get my hands on one of those, if money was no object for me, but I would love to grab that.
You wouldn't get that. You get a 5090, mate, because you're a gamer.
No, I get that because I want to try to figure out a way to adapt it to use it for gaming.
Mate, you're a gamer. You would get a 5090 because that is great for your other workloads as well.
Wait a minute. I said if money was no object.
Again, it doesn't matter. If money's no object, right. Let me change the argument here for you. Right, 5090, 6000 card, right? What are you going to use for gaming? What's going to give you the better performance? The 5090. It will.
No, hire an engineer to mess with the... Look, some of them don't have jobs. I can hire them to work on this card for me.
Yeah, they're ticker derps.
You can see an article now. Some guy just throws $10,000 to buy the card, another $25,000 for an engineer to do whatever he's got to do to get it to work in a gaming rig, and they're like, yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen, you still get 10 minutes if you want to cover your other things, man.
No, I'm good. I'll cover just one thing because I'm going to leave the last story for next time because it's cute.
Okay.
But along the lines of tech and stuff again, apparently the DDR memory overclocking world record, which was actually set not long ago at all, has already been broken again.
Yeah.
So this guy took a G-Skill Trident Z5 and pushed it to 12,774 what is it, microtransfers? Is that what it is per second?
Mega transfers per second.
Mega transfers on a Z890 platform. So they just broke the record, and this guy comes out and breaks it again. And I'm sitting there going like, wow. So I believe the guy was, his username is Black 4 Dot.
Have you seen the pictures of it? There's like a towel round it and stuff.
Yeah, the pictures are great.
Liquid nitrogen and shit, man. Put your towel round it just in case.
For the we'll try to do a quick breaks and show this, but basically for our audio people, because there's a lot of you, imagine this: they have the RAM, and in between the RAM they have some material. I'm not sure what it is, and then they have a nitrogen receptacle thing over that material, so that they can pour liquid nitrogen to hit that material, make it super cold, and then you have the RAM on the right and the left of this material. So it's really weird looking. And of course they have a low-tech rubber band around it to hold it together.
Yeah, the speed record was only beaten by 2 mega transfers. Only 2.
Only 2. That's really funny when you think about it. What is nothing. That? It's so tiny.
Like 0.1 of a frame or something.
But look, same. If you want to equate back to sports again, when you're in the Olympics and you're running a race, and it looks like you tied the other guy, but when they use the clock, the electronic clock, beat him by 0.001. He still won. He still gets the gold medal.
Still gets the gold medal.
That's what happens, man.
I love it. Who says we would run out of content to talk about? The problem you've got is I can talk with the best of them and waffle shite, and then here's the grandmaster of waffling and talking shite, So the two of us, yeah, it was always going to be easy.
Hour.
Oh God, man, that's the special coming out later at the end of this year. Never.
Anyway, thank you all for joining us, especially our audiophiles out there that have been listening to us for years.
Yeah,
We get a lot of downloads and a lot of listens on Spotify and Apple and all the others and stuff. And please join us on YouTube, and we do get some videos out there and then some, besides the quick breaks and some shorts and other things.
Whatever format you like, we'll have it out there.
Right, and if you really want to see our ugly mugs, we do have a video that just without any fancy stuff.
The video version of this will go up.
Exactly.
Tomorrow.
It's just boom, us, nothing fancy if you really want to look at us.
Yeah.
Or you can tell us how bad we look in the comments if you want, whatever.
Speak for yourself, pal.
Or how great we look. Either way. There is a what do you call it? Trevor's threatened to play bagpipes one time when no, only kidding.
My brother did learn to play them briefly, and then he gave up. I'm not blown into anything. I'm not falling for that trick again. Nope.
You're not. Unless you get paid enough, then you might. Well,
no,
anyway.
That's prostitution, Gray. No.
All right, everybody. I appreciate you all joining us. Of course, we will be back next time around, and some of our other buddies will be joining us. I would assume. So we'll just kind of bring up the outro here, and like we usually do.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Bye-bye.
I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you.